Next up, at UFC 295, we have another. Jared Gordon is at that Ray Longo, Matt Serra fight camp, right? So we have another guy. Really? I believe so. Am I wrong?
I don't think I've never seen
maybe I'm wrong. Well, we got another New Yorker. We got a local. We got Jared Gordon taking on Mark Madsen. Jared Gordon, 19-6 overall, 2-2-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that no contest with Bobby Green. He's taking on Mark Madsen. This guy's an Olympian. It's his whole identity, Mark O for Olympian Madsen. And it would be my identity as well if I got that far. He's 12-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off his first professional loss. What are you laughing at? Not his gym?
No, I don't even think that mentally you could even dream that advanced. You know, I mean, that's how far away from that, or you couldn't even dream to be an Olympian. You're so low level.
Jared Gordon is a very good wrestler, not an Olympian. We're at this. We are down here, but he's got solid pressure, good volume striking. He does like to come forward in flurries and then look for a takedown. He's averaging more than 2 takedowns per fight, but he can be out-grappled like he was against Grant Dawson and Joe Selecki. He's coming off that no contest to Bobby Green, where he looked good early and was arguably winning that fight. A lot of people were like, he looked good. He was going to win that fight. And then there was that headbutt, and it knocked him out. And it looked like the judges, or the referee, judge, whoever it was.
I was very upset. On the live stream, I think we had some wild fucking bets. I think we were about to make like $1,000
inside the distance.
I think maybe even like first round or something. I'm trying to remember. I just remember being very upset that they switched that to a no.
It looked like they were going to give it to him. Right? They initially were, and then replay. They're like, all right, we can't possibly give it to this guy. And that is where replay is beneficial because, that would be a straight up loss on Jared's record, and that affects everything. So anyway, he's taking on Mark Madsen. Olympic Greco-Roman wrestler. If you don't know the difference between Greco-Roman and folk style,
I got it.
Folk style is wrestling with their... Go ahead.
So folk style, you can do anything.
No, folk is a third style. Folk is a third style.
So obviously American wrestling is, you can do the legs, you can do blah, blah, blah. The folk style, same thing. It's just old folks doing it. The Greco style is just body locks. There's no leg attacks. There's no singles. There's no doubles. It's body locks, and it's almost kind of like judo in my mind, but it's body lock takedowns, Greco. So there's no when you think of a wrestler like Henry Cejudo, it's not that. It's different.
Correct. Without the old folk part. So he was a Greco-Roman Olympic wrestler. So a lot of the upper body stuff, a lot of throws, things like that. That does translate well, but not as well as some of the folk style wrestling. But notables, Randy Couture was a Greco. Matt Lindland, Greco wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't start watching until Baby Red showed up and started knocking people out. Then you're like, hey, Lynn, the UFC.
Baby Red.
And I've been watching since the
Neither
beginning.
me or McGregor are gingers.
Anyway, yeah, sure. Anyway, Mark Madsen, high-level wrestler, Olympian. As I mentioned, his takedown accuracy is about 66%. That's a average-ish in this division. His takedown defense, though, only 62%. So all of those years of wrestling credentials, defending takedowns is a little bit harder. His striking is not great, but he is improving fight over fight. He does have a negative striking differential, but he's got a solid chin, very real power in his hands. Coming off that first ever career loss to Grant Dawson, who actually out-wrestled the hell out of him. And when I saw this matchup, my gut reaction...
Who said that? I mean...
Congratulations. And I think you also picked Grant to
beat Bobby Green.
Yeah.
No? What?
Yeah. When I saw this matchup, gut reaction was, I'm going to go with the Olympian, right? Jared Gordon's a wrestler. Let me go with the Olympic wrestler against the wrestler. And then you look a little closer. You see what Grant Dawson did. You see, oh, Jared Gordon's got better striking too. And then it's like, okay, I think Jared Gordon's going to win this fight. So I do think Jared's going to win this fight. He's going to be younger. He's going to be faster. The better striker, not the better wrestler, but Mark has shown that he can be taken down. He can be out-wrestled. So Jared's going to be the pick. I'm not taking minus 175 odds against a wrestler versus an Olympic wrestler. I'm not doing it. I'm going to leave this fight alone. I'm not going to touch it, but Jared Gordon's going to be the pick. But those odds seem a little wide considering they do the same thing, and one of them has done it at a much higher level. What do you think, Jakey boy?
You know what's funny is that we all kind of missed the obvious play in the Marco Madsen-Grant Dawson fight, because in that fight, he drops Grant Dawson in like the first 15 seconds, And it just so happened Grant Dawson was able to survive, get a leg, and like scramble around to try to get one of those weird, desperate, fucking pussy takedowns that he tries to get every minute of every hour. But I don't know why that was such a hateful thing. But I think we all know why. I think we all know why that was such a hateful thing. But I mean, the writing was on the wall as far as Grant Dawson. But I bring that up because Mark Madsen, I think, has really shown. You mentioned his striking is improving. I think he's shown some really good improvement. And now Vince Pichel is not like known as like this great boxer or whatever, but he was really kind of lighting a guy like Vince Pichel up. And in this matchup, I think this is a great matchup. If Mark Madsen's going to fight anyone in the lightweight division, it's probably a good matchup for him because Jared Gordon's not a powerful guy. Jared Gordon is kind of a guy that just will kind of try to out-tough you, and he definitely can in this matchup, but he does that by kind of just hanging in the pocket, staying in, kind of dirty boxing, and then mixing the takedowns from there. Well, if you're in the pocket and you're exchanging, you're getting hit, Mark, I think, can have success with the striking, but as you brought up, Angelo, Greco-Roman wrestling, that's a lot of body lock, upper body stuff, and Jared Gordon's style kind of standing right in front of you, it should be easy for Mark to engage in those clinch positions, and if he's able to do that, I think he can take a guy like Jared Gordon down. I mean, he should be better, especially in those type of positions, so I'm actually going with the dog here, Marco Madsen, just because I think if the striking's not to Mark Madsen, I think it's kind of a wash. Mark has underrated power. Jared's known as his toughness, but for a while there, he was kind of getting chinned. So we'll see if the chin's able to hold up. I like Mark Madsen here to kind of grind. I think it's definitely a close fight. And yeah. I'm not like super confident in Mark. I don't have a bet on him. But I think that he's able to kind of grind out two rounds with some takedowns and win this fight.
Well, age isn't really a factor either because it's like, Mark's pretty old, 39, but Jared Gordon's 35, and obviously that is a difference.
That's an old 35 too.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not like 25 to 32. Like 35 is already like okay.
He's been through some stuff.
Starting to slow down a little bit. Why, he's a recovered addict?
I believe he's he went to prison too. Was it jail or prison or something?
I forget. I didn't meet him, but when I went to UFC, whatever the hell it was in Vegas, it was International Fight Week, and he was there like on the level, like there was like this whole sponsored whatever, and he was there. I actually like walked past him. I was like, why do I recognize it? And I was like, oh, it's Jared Gordon. Small. Says 5'9", felt much smaller than 5'9". Felt like you're 5'9".
Wow.
Yeah.
5'9" is pretty tall, and I'm much taller than 5'9". I had friends in high school that were 5'9", and if they had to talk, otherwise I'd be like, if they weren't talking, I didn't know they were there. I just right over top of them.
Yeah, everybody will just pay close
attention. But yeah, Jared seems like a good dude. I'll be honest. I just rewatched.
Seems super nice.
Yeah, and I rewatched that Patty fight. Initially, I'm like, okay, it's close fight or whatever. I don't know how to give that fight to Patty. I don't know.
Oh, he beat the hell out of Patty?
It was like, oh, jeez.
Yeah. Well, he had a couple of takedowns. Striking was about even, but, that's how that goes. $8,900 in DraftKings, though, not happening. I'm not going to do it. I'm not touching that at all. $7,300 in DraftKings for Mark Madsen. Problem is, Jared Gordon could Grant Dawson him, and then he puts up nothing, basically. So, you're picking him to win. Are you trusting him with your $7,300 in DraftKings
I don't
Fantasy?
Trust him with anything.
Yeah, well, there it is. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member, and you will see all of our DraftKings Fantasy plays, as well as our bets, the insight, the DraftKings Optimizer. We have a full suite of FanDuel plays and FanDuel ownership. Again, we have the best FanDuel ownership in the game. Just like we do with the best DraftKings ownership. So if you don't play fantasy, everything I just said doesn't make any sense. So there's bets there too. WeOwnPicks.com. Click Become a Member.